So I'm going to ask Prof. Babu to take over for a minute, and then we're going to have to step outside shortly just to go through the demonstration, and Spot will do some, I don't know if we'll be able to get him to do some parkour for us, but one can always hope, but I'll hand over to you.
No, good morning, and thank you, colleagues, for giving this opportunity. So I am Babu Paul, the director of the Institute for Intelligent Systems. So the Institute is basically responsible for driving the 4IR initiatives of this university. And we are very proud to have Spot among us. This is the first in Africa. They started selling Spot somewhere mid-2020. And we were fortunate enough to get it. Initially, they did not want to sell to South Africa. You know the first world countries. So basically, Spot is having 5 cameras. 2 cameras in the front, 1 each on both the sides, and 1 behind. And these 2 cameras on the front is stereo cameras. So they give the 3D depth to Spot. The height of Spot is roughly, while walking, is 70 centimeters. And the minimum height of Spot while walking is roughly 52 centimeters. So that makes it very versatile to go into places where people like me can't go. So that is one of the biggest advantages. Spot can take 2 payloads on top of it. So you can see that the black patches on top of Spot. So it can take 2 payloads. Maximum payload capacity it can take is 14 kilos. And Spot itself weighs roughly 35 kilos. And the speed of Spot is maximum 5 kilometers per hour. And the battery life of Spot, that is a bit of a problem at the moment. The battery gives 55 volts, 7 amperes max, and it comes with 2 batteries. It is in the belly of Spot. It is round about 1.5 to 2 hours. So people would expect that it would be the whole day battery life, but it is not so. And we have got a couple of payloads. We have already got it with us. One is the LiDAR. So it is basically 360 degree on the horizontal with a resolution of 0.1 degrees to 0.4 degrees, plus minus 15 degrees on the vertical with a resolution of 2 degrees. So you can get roughly 3 centimeters resolution while mapping the mine or any construction site or anything. And below the LiDAR, it is a Velodyne kind of LiDAR. So below the LiDAR, you can see this is the Spot core. So this is that Spot core is basically much better than my computer. It is i5 Intel i5 processor, 8th generation, with 16 GB RAM, half a terabyte hard disk. So it can do the work, store it over there, and come back. Then we download the data, and then we process the data and get the information out of it. Now, the other payload that we are having is basically the Spot cam. So the Spot cam is a 360 cam. The reason for buying means this Spot cam is that it has LEDs on it. So in mining environment, if it is totally dark, then it can light itself up. So you can see the LEDs. 1 pair, you can see it in the front and 1 pair on the side. So there are 4 pairs of LEDs. And it has its own microphones, 2 sets of microphones, 2 sets of speakers. So it can be used for different purposes. Now, our intention with Spot is not to use it as a dancing robot. Our intention of Spot is basically to co-create with the industry. And that is why I'm presenting over here that we are looking out for industry partners with whom we can join hands and co-develop solutions and which can be done in the industry itself. Now, some of the value propositions why the industry should go for it. because there are different kinds of things that are going around that should the industry go for modernization, should the industry go for 4IR or not. So some of the value propositions of spot is improved operational efficiency, then safer work environments. It is IP54, so it can go in rain also. It can go in dusty environments. Then one is freeing up skilled laborers so that the monotonous job is not done. Then reduced travel and operating costs, because it is a one-time investment, but over the time, my literature review says that the money comes back in construction industry, it came back within 1.5 years, the money that was invested on spot. And more efficient and autonomous data collection. You can understand why it is efficient, because if data collection is done by people, a few years back also, people used to collect data sitting at home of different municipalities and write dummy things. Nowadays it is a bit difficult because now it is digital and there is GPS over there. So whether you visited the place or not, it is seen. So the data collection is very authentic over here. Then better protection from litigation. So this is a very important thing. I was told by one of my colleagues that each death in a mine costs round about 3.5 million rands. So this was what I am not sure about it. So if from the hazardous environment, if people can be moved around and if spot can go, because spot can go on auto work also. So once it is trained, it can go do the things and come back to the base station. So that is not at all a problem. And reduction in downtime, sometimes I will talk in my next couple of slides. Sometimes you need to put down the operations to do inspections. So that can need not be needed if you do work with spot. And this is another thing that, what about industrial IoT, industrial Internet of Things? The same thing can be done. But industrial Internet of Things basically needs a huge infrastructure. Whereas in case of spot, the infrastructure itself is moving. So the investment is much, much less than having an industrial IoT. And it is very easy to deploy. So you will see it just now that we have the sets on it and then we deploy it. So we are going to test it in the mines also. We have an emulated mine. In the coming week, we have a slot with Professor Krobler. We took a slot. So we will test it in the mine. Some of the universities, a couple of universities in US have already tested it in the mine. University of Colorado did it in the mine for mapping the mines. So some of the use cases, one is mining. So when I was doing my study, my reviews, so the mining is one of the industries that has embraced spot means hugely. Now there are multiple reasons for it. One is monitoring the mines. That is the fence of the mines. That is what the literature says. So spot can do it very nicely. Then the next is going into greater depths where it is difficult for human beings to go. Because 50 centimeters, if it is the height, so it can go. It can work much better than Zamazamas even. So that is another thing. Now, the hazardous environment is not a problem. Water is not a problem. It cannot work submerged in the water. But if it is raining, then also it is not a problem. Another problem means another where spot can be used is basically in open pit mines. So where coal mines, open pit mines, where it is the coal is burning below, but it cannot be sensed. So spot can have sensors on it, and it can go working, and it can find out where it is just below the surface. It is the mine is burning, so that care can be taken. Now this is another useful application of spot, basically in high voltage installations. So often you will see that we don't have electricity because ESCOM is under maintenance. The reason for that is basically these high voltage installations have high voltage thyristors. Now when you do inspection or maintenance, the maintenance takes less time, the inspection takes more time. Now they have to put the operations down so that people can go and inspect the thing. So Spot can do it very easily. You don't need to put it down. Spot can go near the high voltage. It can do the inspection, take all the photos and everything and come back, and then the maintenance is done. Another use case is basically in the construction industry, in big construction industries, just to track what is the progress of the work going on. So Spot can go on auto work every evening, take the information and come back and see whether the work is going on in the right direction and whether the project can be delivered on time. Now, these are some of the more use cases you have seen already. You have seen in media that during the pandemic, Spot was used for medical purposes where doctors could not go in front of the patients. Spot can be used in monitoring mining, in monitoring refineries, pipelines. Yeah, because many a times we understand we cannot differentiate much between frequencies. We understand that our car is going bad only when the frequency went of the engine much bigger. There is a greater shift. But Spot can pick up the smallest frequency difference also. So that is another advantage. So we have created a Spot team already because we got Spot only a month back. So our Spot team is something like this. The UJ, the institute, is at the core along with the industry partners. So our main core is the industry partners. Then we have our faculties. We have all the faculties within the university. We have taken in experts groups from externally, those who are not part of the industry. Because what we believe in that if we want to deliver at a product delivery stage, then we may not have all the expertise within the industry. So we have brought in experts group from outside also. And we have partnered with universities. For example, we reached out to University of Colorado, who is having Spot. And then we have an international Spot advisory team. People from South Africa who are based overseas, working in robotics, working in controls, and international experts and national experts. We have already formed a team. So this team is basically advising us on Spot, that what kind of use cases can be done. Yeah. So this is our team currently. A few people are here from UJ. There are people from outside also. Yeah, you can see Henny, who is from UJ. So he is part of the core team. So this is another thing. We have made a Spot booking platform. We have a complimentary, it is easy to remember, it is tinyurl.com/Spot booking. So we have a complimentary show every Friday from 3 o'clock at University of Johannesburg's APK campus. Then we have a technology demonstrator platform, and then we have industry who would like to collaborate with us and develop things with us, solutions. So thank you, Danki.